If you have been wondering what it's like for your child to get through divorce, today's episode is going to shine some light on that. I'm going to have a guest on that you've heard me talk about a lot in our last 2.5 years, but you've never met. You've never had the opportunity to hear directly from him. And today you will. So if you are getting divorced or are divorced, and if you have a kiddo in the middle, you're going to love today's guest. Let's get started. Welcome to the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast dedicated to helping women navigate the emotional journey that is divorce. I'm your host, Erica, and if you're trying to figure out life after the big D, welcome to the club. Whether you're contemplating divorce or dealing with the aftermath or any of the many phases in between, the club has got you covered. Each week, you'll hear stories from women who have been in your shoes. This isn't about spilling tea on divorce details. This is about giving you the tools to take control of your own healing journey. Listen in weekly for advice, tips, and tools to help you move through each stage of the process. Welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club. Today, I want to introduce our guest, my son Owen, to the show. In fact, in 2.5 years, do you know that I've never actually said his name on air? I've kept him a complete secret. And today I was like, do you want to be my guest as we're recording? He said yes. So we're here to chat about what it was like from his point of view going through divorce. Welcome to the show, Owen. Your dad and I separated when you were 4. You are now almost 15. You have really gone through a lot of different phases of weathering, separation, divorce, 2 houses, new partners, new pets. What is something that you have found that's turned out to be a positive about being a kid in a divorced family?
Getting used to change faster
Yeah.
than most people.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Like, moving schools was easy.
Okay, good, because that was a really big worry. Between 7th and 8th grade, we moved you to a new school, and I was super stressed. And officially, it wasn't your first move because your other one happened between 1st and 2nd grade, I think.
Between
Kindergarten and first?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so that went really well for you. Well, tell me more about that, or tell me how you adapted, or...
It just took like a day or two to feel like I've been there for a while.
Okay.
So it didn't feel like my first year at the new school.
Mm-hmm.
And it also happened to people around me. They get me like mixed up and they think I was there in like 7th grade or 6th grade.
Yeah.
And so it just made that change a lot easier to get used to.
I would agree with a plus. It's like not a pro. We don't want to advocate for divorce, but when divorce is what it is and we got to get through it, what are the benefits that come out of it? And I do think that you're really overall pretty adaptable to change. When you were 4, 5, and 6, were you adaptable to change? No, it's a lot harder because it was new. Going between houses was really hard. Dropping you off, especially if a babysitter was there, was really, really hard. But now when plans change or things change, you're kind of like, been there, done that, or I've gotten through it before, and you are a little bit more adaptable to just roll with it. So I thank you for that. That is a good one. Any other pros, ways that it's helped you grow or change?
I guess it helps me like interact with different people.
Ooh,
In
okay.
a way.
Okay.
Because like before, I probably would have been super shy. And so now I'm used to meeting new people and interacting with people.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates a lot of like funny moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other week, me and my friends went to the Mall of America. And there's these people joking around. We had conversation with them. And it was just a funny moment because we were all laughing about it.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's one way.
I like that. I would agree with that too, because there have been times, even when I've watched you, that I thought, oh my God, when I was your age, I would have never felt comfortable, whether it's going into a store on your own or going into a restaurant on your own, or there's a lot of things you seem to feel fine with doing solo. Like you're like, whatever, I can go handle this, Mom. Like, I don't need you. I can go figure this out on my own. I'm glad to see that in you because it's a super strong skill set. You're not afraid to go try something new. I hated going to do new stuff. I hated not looking like the expert. I hated, being quote unquote dumb. Like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. And so that stopped me from doing a lot of things. And I don't always see that in you. Like, even when we talk about you're finally into snowboarding, you guys, I worked so hard to get this child into snowboarding. His dad used to snowboard, still does a little bit, but worked in Lake Tahoe during college and snowboard instructor. And I think you've probably heard the story where he tried to take me out and I screamed bloody murder off the chair and never went back up the mountain again until after the divorce, and then figured out and learned, oh yeah, did you not know that?
I've never heard this story.
Okay, so here's the story, you guys. We'll do a little side detour. When we were dating, we were in college, maybe a little bit right after college, we went up to Lake Tahoe. And I'd always wanted to snowboard, but I'd always been too afraid to try. And so, my ex was like, well, I'll teach you because I was a snowboard instructor. Side note, don't ever let your partner teach you how to snowboard. I've yet to see it work out. I've watched couples on the hill try and do it all the time. Hire the lesson. Hire the person. He gave me a quick 30-second tutorial at the base of the mountain, and then we had to ride the chair, and he's like, just get off and go. And well, we got to the end, and I started freaking out about how I was going to get off, and all of a sudden I got off, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fall off the mountain. Screaming, diving, dove. I finally stopped screaming, and everybody on the chairlift operator, my ex is just like, like, what happened? I felt so dumb. I didn't go back up again. And I didn't pick up snowboarding until the divorce. So it was one of those things that I had said no to, that I let fear get the best of me. And it was something I always wanted. And my life lesson from divorce was never letting the fear stop me again. And so when I met somebody and started dating somebody who was very much into snowboarding, I was like, this is it. Universe says you got to figure it out. So I hired an instructor. I did lessons here locally before heading back out to Colorado, and I loved it. Fell in love with it. So of course I wanted my little person to also love it. And so tried to get him to fall in love with it. His dad was really not participating in the first few years of trying to get you to snowboard. I don't think he was. Was he on your side?
Not that I remember.
Not till you got a little bit older. And took him out to Colorado. He made it down the mountain one time before he was like, I'm done. My legs are tired. I quit. He just wanted to go back to the hotel room. But now you really like it. And in fact, now, I mean, even just this season, you're like, hey, can you just drive me out? And I'm going to hit the parks for the day. And you were there 8 hours, 9 hours. You're there all day. And I just worked in front of the fireplace. It was quite delightful. But I think that that's one of the things too, that because you're an only child and because you're a child of divorce, if there's things that you want to do, you got to figure out how to do it on your own. You're not waiting for somebody else, or you haven't built that like safety net around you that you have to have friends there. Now, you do really like having friends. And I wonder too if that is partially from divorce, having 2 houses and being an only child, that finding your people, your friends who you can call and rely on have been really important to you. Sometimes it comes up that when people have to move houses or transition houses, so maybe not so much from our first house to our townhouse, but the townhouse to where we're at now, living with my partner, is the fear about meeting new friends and then the loss of the friends that you're leaving behind. Mm-hmm. And so if we think about just even like the last move, because obviously a 7th grader, middle school, friends are pretty important. And then transitioning into the new school, were you worried about leaving those friends behind? Was it hard to leave them behind?
A little, but it felt like we never hung out outside of school either way. So it wasn't that much of a change other than the inside school.
And I can see that because I feel like the friends that you had elementary through middle school, you guys were a pack because you just always been in school together. But I wouldn't necessarily say you guys were inseparable. You weren't like, oh my God, that's my group. Like, those are my people. They just were the guys that were always there.
Yeah.
And I think now as you've gotten a little bit older too, that starts to shift. And it seems like now you have more like, these are my people. You will choose or opt to stay home if your core group of friends isn't available or can't hang out if they're working or something. And you're fine with that. You find other things to do. All right, let's go to the other side of this coin. So we know that there were some benefits. There were some areas that divorce made you grow. Let's talk about where it was hard. So what would you say is one of the hardest things that you had to work through or learn to deal with coming from a divorced family?
Switching between households.
Tell me more about that.
It's just a pain in the ass. Pack up some clothes and then having to do that like every day.
What helped to make it easier? Because I think we can all agree it's always hard when you got to live between 2 houses. The stuff you want is probably at the other house, or you're carting a suitcase back and forth. And we tried really hard to make sure you never had to cart a suitcase. So we made sure there was always clothes at each house until now, when your fit has gotten a little bit different. You do not have the same kind of style at each house. But prior to that, we try to make it easy by not making you carry clothes back and forth. Are there things that would have made those transitions easier? What advice would you give other parents?
Try not to worry them as much as you're going to worry yourself.
Ooh, snap. You are my child.
Boom.
Yeah, mic drop on that one. But what you seem to be saying is that parents are going to worry a ton and that they shouldn't let their kids know that they're that worried because maybe the overall worry isn't that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That yes, it's hard. Yes, everybody's worried, but that the kids are looking to the parents to like hold the ground.
Yeah.
Any specific example that I did really well or really bad?
I think you did really well with helping me through it
Okay.
and letting me know it was okay. I think you didn't do so well unmasking your fear.
100%. First, I want to say thank you because every parent needs to hear these things from their kids, and no parent is perfect at anything. And I was real clear. I'm figuring this out just like you are, but we're going to figure it out together. And I think that was one of the core beliefs. We're having a rough patch, and we wrote our house's core values and we wrote them together. And I still have that little piece of paper, and it's in my like memento box because it hung on our fireplace for I think the entire time we lived in the townhouse. I never took it down. We agreed that we operate from love and we operate from respect and we do not hit and we are not mean to people even though we're upset. And it's okay to be upset, but we can't hurt somebody else because we're upset. When I talk to other parents, when I talk to other moms, the thing that I think is so important is that you stand next to them in the problem. Like you guys are walking through a problem together. You both are struggling in the divorce. The divorce is hard on both of you in different ways. I can't solve it for you. I can't carry the weight for you. As a mom, I want to take all that on for you, but it's part of your learning too. I will sit with you. I said that a lot. Like I will just sit with you in the muck. You're not alone. You can have your feels. You don't have to talk to me about it, but do you want me to just sit with you or do you want me to leave you alone? And then I would come back and check on you. Or I'd say, I know it's hard, reflecting a lot of emotions. I know it's hard. I know going to dad's house is hard. I know it's not where you want to be. We give them words for what they're feeling because as kids, they don't always have the words yet. They just know it doesn't feel good in their body. We can start to test it out. I know you're angry. I know you're sad. Sometimes I'd be like, I know you're angry. And you'd be like, I'm not angry. I'm this. Beautiful. Because then we can get to it. And yeah, I wasn't perfect. The fear really overwhelmed me, but that was part of the problem prior to the divorce too. Like fear was a big life lesson for me and it still acts up. And I still worry about you as a 14, almost 15-year-old in high school and all the things of the high school worries. And so I will try and take your advice of what you just said and I will try and apply that to high school now. What other advice do you have for parents?
I would say give them a little keepsake so then they can be reminded of you and not afraid that they're navigating without you.
I like that. So I had a couple that I gave you. Which one are you thinking of?
Toy Story blanket. Still have that in my room.
Yeah.
It's
packed away. That one will stay with us forever.
I think all I know is the Toy Story blanket.
Okay, that is so interesting. So the other ones that we tried, you had a photo album. It started as a school project. Like when you went to kindergarten or preschool, they were like, oh, we need pictures of all your family members so that when the kids are sad, when they're not with that family member and they're at school, which has a lot of new stuff and all the people, they can go look at that album if they need a moment. So we just continued to build on that because when you're at dad's house and you're missing mom, do you have a picture of mom? Do you have a picture of grandma? Do you have a picture of your dogs from the other side of the house? So that you know that, hey, you're not there, but you're still with them. And then the other one that I used to give you when I traveled is I would let you pick one of my crystals and you picked that big blue flat heart. It was like looking at the stars. It was a very dark one and it was flat. So you could hold onto it and you could sleep with it at night. I remember those. I totally thought you were going to bring up the blue heart. Like I was like, oh, he's going to bring up the crystal because he picked this like no, but it's the blanket. I love that. I think that that's a really important question too for those of you who are listening. Ask your kids, what is that thing that they rely on when they are missing you? Or what's something that you guys could create together? You know, is it a picture in a picture frame that they want to take to the other house? Is it something like a crystal or a specific stuffed animal or a blanket? But what is that thing so that when you are not physically together, they can feel connected to you? Do you think that divorce has set you back?
No, I think it's pushed me further.
That's good to hear. Tell me why.
Because, like I said in the beginning, it's opened up opportunities that I probably wouldn't have if I was more sheltered.
Yeah. You also have had a lot more travel opportunities because you've taken trips separately. We always
Yeah.
traveled, but now you travel with your dad or you travel with me. That's definitely changed things a lot. You don't have that fear holding you back. Let's shift gears a little bit because we've talked a lot about how the divorce specifically impacted you, but there's another big thing that happens for families of divorce, which is blending families. So as you move forward, as you know, you have your initial family, mom, dad, kids, when that first, breaks or reorganizes, because you guys hate the word broken family, when it reorgs into two separate groups, and we've got the dad house and the mom house, sometimes they never remarry, but most times one or both will find a new partner. They might have kids together. The other person might already have children. I think that where we're at culturally with the divorces, I think you're about to see a lot more blending families, big families, instead of nuclear families like we saw when I was growing up. There weren't a lot of divorced kids out there. There's a lot more divorced kids now than there used to be, it feels like. How has it been to blend families? And we have our side. So we have my partner and he has 3 boys. So you have your first run at actually having brothers. And for a while, your dad was engaged. And so you had a almost stepmom that didn't get married, but you had an almost stepmom and her extended family that you were also working with.
I feel like since your partner has a lot more experience with like kids, it's easier for him to like understand certain situations. With dad's partner, since she was so young and had like no experience with kids, it was a little difficult.
Which makes a lot of sense. Because if you already have had to get through some of it, then you kind of understand what's going on. I've seen that happen a lot too, where it's a rough dynamic because you're jumping in to a family dynamic that's already built, that's
Mm.
already running. But you, as this other person, whether it was your dad's former fiance or my current partner, they also have their own way of doing things. They also have their own way that they think parenting should go. But they're jumping in like she was jumping in when you were 4. You already had some parenting roots underneath you. Where we're at now, we're jumping in when we officially blended families and moved in a year and a half ago. That really shifted things a lot. The other 3 boys, and then I think for you as well, moving in, kind of settling in. Do you feel like this is finally our home, or do you still feel like it's their home?
It's our home.
Yeah, it took a while though. Did it take you
Mhm.
a while? It took me a while to settle in. I feel really blessed because my son and my partner get along really, really well. Sometimes a little bit too well because becomes 2 against 1 and I'm the odd duck out. But I'm more grateful for the fact that he has an adult that he can lean on. And I think that that's what all we can ask for when it comes to blending families. Do your kids like your new partner? Do they see that as a valuable adult in their life? It's never going to replace the dad or the mom because there's a little fear. There's a little fear for the parent, like when your dad, because he had a new relationship first before I did. There was a lot of fear for me that she was going to replace me. You were going to love her more. She was younger. She was more fun. She liked doing amusement park rides. She bought you bags of candy at the expensive candy store. And I'd be like, no, we're going to Target to buy the same thing for way less money. And so there was a lot of threat happening that you weren't going to love me as much. It's interesting because we want our kids to like the other person. We just don't want to feel like we're replaced. Is there anything that would make blending families easier in your mind? Anything you wish we had done different or anything you wish we would do still?
Don't jump right into it.
Yeah.
She like slowly introduced me to her partner. I think that made it
Me.
easier.
You
Yeah,
mean I slowly did it?
that definitely made it easier to not be scared.
Yeah, that makes sense. The funny thing is I treated it much like if you were to introduce new dogs. If you're going to introduce new dogs, what are you supposed to do? Neutral ground, have an activity. Either you're going for a walk or you're at a park. You're not having anything territorial. We're not fighting over something. And so when you got to meet who I was dating for the first time, do you remember what we did?
Alcohol.
And I let you bring a friend. So I said, hey, I want you to meet who this important person is to me. Bring a friend so that you have a person there. So it's not just mom and her partner and me, but it's like, hey, you guys can play. And then we have an activity. So we're going to golf. We're going to bond over something that we're doing together. So we can laugh. We're going to have some food. And then there was a start and an end time. It wasn't like, okay, now that we're here, this thing is here forever. We're going to do a little like step in, a little taste, and then we're going to take a break. And we're going to go back to it being you and I and that dynamic and letting everything settle in. And so we did little spurts of time before being like, okay, you guys have some commonalities. You have some places that you're connecting. You can see that dynamic building. I know it shifted when we moved in because then he stepped into a much different role because now he's full-time protector and parent. when you're in this house, he's got to make sure that you and I are both safe. A little different than just all in all at once. So tied into blending families is also the extended families. And I think that that is a thing as the parent, as the adult, that needs some, not expectations, that's the wrong word, but you have to be very specific on what you're asking for. For example, holidays roll around, and in my family, my brother and sister, they all have kids. I got a kid. Kids give kids presents. Once everybody started having kids, we stopped. I don't give my brother and my sister and their significant others Christmas presents, but I bought all my nieces and nephew Christmas presents. So then what happens when it comes to like the blended family? And now ours, I guess, is a little bit unique because legally we're not married. So we have made our own commitments, but we don't want the government back in our business. So there's not a piece of paper. But there is all the rest of it that we act just the same as if we are married. There's no just getting out. There's no just quitting. We're in it together, and this is what we're building. And this is our family with 4 boys and 2 dogs. So then it comes to extended family. I appreciate when family includes the boys, and it actually means a lot. It shows that they respect the fact that this is now our complete family and not just where is that legal piece of paperwork. With the medical issues of the 3 wheelchairs, the boys haven't met most of my extended family because they all live out of state. But you've had a chance to meet his brother and his dad and his nieces. And when we went to Michigan, we went and hung out with some of his family. So again, it's kind of like this dribbling in and setting some expectations or asks on how you want them to be treated. I had to have some conversations a couple times like, hey, those are my stepkids. Those are my stepkids. Those aren't just his kids. So that my family understood the point of view that we were coming at. Did you enjoy meeting extended family? Does it add more chaos? Is it just more presence? Like what happens? Does it matter?
I would say if you do it too early, then it adds more pressure and chaos.
Well, because with your dad's ex-fiance, they used to help out and babysit a lot. And I think that that is a really good lesson. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I can't speak directly on it. But what I observed was that while they were, willing to help out and they wanted to instantly accept you in as part of the family, and on paper that looks really, really good. But in reality, the dynamics are really different because now you're interacting full time. You'd be there a lot of hours, a lot of days after the week till one of them could come get you from work or after school or whatnot. And so you had to learn to live by their rules. Hard, easy. Do you miss any of them?
No, it was definitely difficult. Because as a kid, your parents' rules, and that's about it. Maybe your grandparents' rules, but it's really just your parents' rules. And so having more rules that you feel like, why do I have to follow these? These aren't my parents' rules. Adds more difficulty.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. Before I set you free, because I know your friends are coming at spring break week. Thank you for carving out some time in your busy schedule. Did you enjoy being on?
Yeah, we should have me on more often.
Maybe we will have you on more often. We'll give you some specific questions to help us work through because I think that it is valuable to hear somebody else's point of view. So overall, you feel like you have navigated divorce successfully?
Yeah.
You got through it. It's helped you grow as a human and come out stronger on the other side?
Yeah.
I love that. And I hope, my wish for you is that you do not have to go through divorce yourself. You already went through it once. You don't need to do it twice when you become an adult. So until next week, you guys, give yourself some grace. Go have some good, open conversations with your kids. Ask them how they're feeling about it. Ask them if there's something that would make things a little easier, like that memento that they could carry with them or a picture that they could take with them, or just set aside some time to get real. Go have some fun. Go play some games with them. We used to go to Dave & Buster's on Wednesdays. We used to have just some really easy outings where I could set aside the worry, the fear, the I got to do all stuff and just go have some fun because that's what our kids are really looking at us for. And that's it. Another great episode of the Crazy Ex-Wives Club, a podcast for women learning how to heal from their divorce. Tune in next week for more advice and tips to help you figure out life after divorce. And until then, give yourself grace, do the best you can, and know that this is all part of the process.